Well, we have X-Men Days of Future Past coming out tomorrow. Well, technically, they're doing. I don't know. Movie theaters have started this thing now where they'll release a movie in theaters on Thursday late at night. So, but technically, it officially goes out tomorrow. So, as always, I'm going to do my thoughts going into X-Men Days of Future Past. And first off, I know I say this a lot, but Powerpuff Girl vlogs are coming. I just want to play catch up on Adventure Time right now because I'm almost halfway through season 5, and I want to catch up to it before the latest episode. Also, I know I promised a Star Wars comic, but it's weird. I pre-ordered it, and rather than just deliver it to me the day it comes out, they start delivering it to me on its release date, rather than just having it show up to my house on release date. So it should be here in about 3 to 5 days. Please be patient with me. I will read it and review it when it comes out, okay? So, with that being said, let's get into X-Men Days of Future Past, but first, at this point, I'm just going to put in an annotation saying, skip to here for my thoughts going into X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, first, I just want to quickly sum up how I feel about the previous X-Men movies. Now, up until a week ago, I really hadn't read that much X-Men. I have this book. It's called Marvel's Fantastic First. It basically contains the first issue of every single Marvel superhero, all the origins to everyone. Thor, Nick Fury, just the first issue they appear in, and if the first issue doesn't contain their origin story, which does happen, then, sorry if it itched on my nose, then I'll give you another issue which does explain the origin. And that is the only exposure to X-Men I have comic-wise. I think I saw a tiny bit of the cartoon when I was young, but not really. But anyway, recently in preparation for new X-Men movie, I did read some X-Men comics. I read the Phoenix Saga and I read Days of Future Past, both of which are really good. And the movies, while I don't think they're as good as the comics, some of them can be pretty good. The first two X-Men, I generally like. The first one's a nice setup. I mean, it's not really that big on action or anything, but it has an interesting dilemma, a good story, and then it provides a nice setup. The second one, still a little slow-paced, but I found it a bit more engaging just because it get right to the story and it didn't have to waste half the movie introducing characters. The third one was mediocre. It's like Spider-Man 3. They're trying to put way too much into the movie, cram way too much in the movie, and some of the stuff in the movie isn't really well written. X-Men Origins Wolverine is pointless. There is no point to seeing that movie. First Class I liked. It's pretty good. I think the endings to it was a little rushed, but other than that, it was fine. And the Wolverine I thought was decent. It was okay. Started out strong, and then as it went on, it just became more of a just generic action movie, and it ultimately felt kind of pointless. This next movie, though, X-Men Days of Future Past, I'm really looking forward to. It could very well be the best X-Men movie. And I'm pumped for it. We're going to see the original cast from the original X-Men movies return, which, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. And then we're also seeing the cast of First Class, which I really enjoyed, come back. And there's an all-star cast in this movie. You have Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Ellen Page, Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, and more, and I can't wait to see them all. These characters are so good, and to have so many great characters in one movie is going to be amazing. And the action looks like it's going to be the best it's ever been. Just so you know, I've seen the first trailer a few times for the movie. The second one I've only seen once, which is when I went to see Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. And I haven't seen the newest one at all. I'm afraid it's gonna give too much away. But from what I saw of the clip they showed on MTV, the action looks great in this. And this is also a clever way to continue the X-Men. They don't want to continue with the original X-Men cast because Patrick Stewart and McKellen are getting old. And you have this young cast in this sort of reboot you did. So this is a great way to sort of connect the two franchises. And also possibly say hello to the original cast one more time before I'm guessing we'll say goodbye to them and then focus on this new cast, because the first class cast is listed for X-Men Apocalypse on IMDb, but the new ones aren't. So one possibility is that this time travel could get rid of, just be a transition between the old and the new. But on the plus side, it could also get rid of X-Men Free, which is great because that one's mediocre. Also, we have Bryan Singer returning, and he is really trying not to scratch it. Bryan Singer's back, and he did a good job with the first two. I'm happy to see him back. Also, I like how this is set in the 60s. I always like superhero movies set in different historical time periods, like Captain America. The only concern I have is that there's just going to be a little too much going on. There's so many characters, especially considering we're dealing with the cast of the original X-Men and First Class. And I know Singer is good at juggling characters, but I'm worried he's not. He might have trouble juggling stuff. And it's not just the original, all the familiar characters. We're also going to have new characters like Quicksilver. We have the Sentinels. We have like a bunch of other characters. And if they're following Days of Future Past, we're going to be alternating between the future and past storylines. So yeah. Also, I feel like while this film is building up the return of all these original X-Men, I feel like some of them aren't going to get as much screen time as we believe. I honestly think either Kitty or Rogue isn't going to be in it that much. Maybe Bishop, probably. Like, so, some of these X-Men are probably not going to do as much as we'd like. And apparently, from what I heard, originally they were going to cut out Rogue scenes. So, it might be disappointing not to see much of some of the other X-Men. Financially, this film will do fine. X-Men movies in general, while they aren't as big moneymakers as like the big Marvel movies or even the new Spider-Man, they generally do well. And I think what'll help this movie is, one, if it gets a pretty good word of mouth, it'll do well. Also, it's coming out Memorial Day weekend, which is big movie-going weekend. It's in a much better position than the Wolverine was, which came out in the middle of July, and there was a lot of stuff coming out in July last year. So it's good word of mouth. Everyone's pretty much who's wanted to see Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the most part has seen it, except me. So it could get lost in the shuffle, but I think this weekend is really where it's going to make most of its money. If it wants to make anything beyond that, it might get by over word of mouth. Also, Guardians isn't coming out for a while. There isn't that much going on in June, so who knows how much money Days of Future Past will make going into June. But it could get lost in the shuffle, but I feel like with good word of mouth, and especially given the fact that it's coming out on Memorial Day weekend, I think it'll do well. I don't think it'll make as much money as Spider-Man, because X-Men's not as big as Spider-Man, but it'll still do well. Will I go see it? Well, here's the thing. I would love to go see it, and I will try to go see it. I love the comics. I have never seen the next movie in theaters. I really want to see this one, especially considering it could be the best one. It could be one of, if not the best, X-Men movies. But unfortunately, I may not get to it right away. I do have a life. I do want to see Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I will try to see it. I really want to see it, but keep in mind there's so much coming out this summer, and there's obviously other movies that have come out that I want to see, like Spider-Man. So I may not get a chance. But trust me, believe me, if I'm not seeing it, it's not because I'm lazy. I really want to see it. I just don't have the time. So that's what I think. I'm pumped for this movie, and I really hope it does well, and it really just revives the X-Men franchise in ways that Marvel hopes to. Okay, so are you guys pumped for X-Men Days of Future Past? I know I am. Please comment and let me know. Subscribe if you want more. And stay tuned, because apparently Big Hero 6 trailer comes out today, so I'm probably going to review that later. This is JStar360, signing out.